Don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to stay updated with our latest video. What made William Smith one of Hollywood's toughest stars? Was it his brutal fight scenes, his time in the service, or his scary screen presence? To tell you the truth, all of those things are true. I'm a real warrior who has trained in bodybuilding, martial arts, and intelligence work. Smith was a tough guy, too. He broke ribs in fights and fought Arnold Schwarzenegger in Conan the Barbarian. He brought raw power and authenticity to every part, which made him one of the most feared and respected actors in Hollywood. Listen to what he really thinks. William Smith may not be a well-known name, but anyone who has watched TV or movies in the past 7 decades can quickly recognize his face. He is a handsome, muscular actor. Smith had a stellar career that included more than 250 roles in movies and TV shows. He was known for his tough acting and fighting skills, and he was the perfect example of a tough guy. He could take and throw a punch with equal force, and he was a fighter in every way, on and off the screen. Smith had an intriguing and varied background. He went to college with the goal of getting a PhD, but an unexpected chance in Hollywood changed his plans. MGM Studios signed him to a contract, and he never looked back. From that point on, Smith embarked on a relentless journey through the world of entertainment, becoming one of the most recognizable faces in B-movies and TV villains. For over 30 years, he thrived in the industry, often playing menacing characters like outlaws and formidable antagonists. His chiseled features, muscular physique, and commanding presence made him a top choice for casting directors looking for a strong, intimidating figure, whether he was playing a cruel outlaw in westerns, a cold-blooded gangster in crime dramas, or a tough opponent in action movies. Smith brought intensity and realism to every role he played. One of his most famous and praised roles was as the tough bare-knuckle fighter Jack Wilson in the 1980 movie Any Which Way You Can, co-starring Clint Eastwood. This role showed off both Smith's acting skills and his amazing physical abilities. In the movie, there is a famous fight scene between Smith's character and Eastwood's character. It is one of the longest two-man fight scenes ever captured on film, and unlike many action stars who use stunt doubles, Smith and Eastwood did all of their stunts for this hard, well-choreographed scene. The realism and raw energy of their fight made it a landmark moment in movie history. 2 years before this scene, William Smith engaged in another brutal and now famous fight on the set of Darker Than Amber in 1970. The movie, which is based on John D. MacDonald's book, stars Rod Taylor as Travis McGee, a tough, street-smart main character who gets caught up in a web of crime and violence. One of the most memorable parts of the movie was a long, unrestrained fight scene between Taylor's character and Smith's character, the bad guy. The scene was supposed to be intense and visceral, but what actually happened on set was nothing like the carefully planned action scenes you usually see in Hollywood. Smith, who used to be a bodybuilder and martial artist, had a strong presence, while Taylor was known for doing his stunts and never backing down from a challenge. When it came time to film their fight, the two actors initially stuck to the planned fight choreography. However, Smith said in a 2010 interview that Taylor decided to throw real punches instead of the staged ones they had practiced. First choreography and staging went out the window when Rod decided to really hit me, and Taylor agreed. Smith remembered, and the fight began. It was a real fight with real blood and real broken bones. Rod is a skilled fighter and a real scrapper. That was a good fight. What began as a normal action scene turned into a nasty fight that wasn't planned. Smith and Taylor threw real punches at each other instead of pulling punches, which is different from current fight scenes that use fast cuts, special effects, and stunt doubles to make it look like the fight is dangerous. The actors slammed into walls, punched each other hard, and wrestled in a way that made it impossible to fake. The aftermath of the fight showed how real it had been. Smith got 3 broken ribs, which is a painful injury that would have kept many actors out of work, and Taylor got a broken nose. Despite their injuries, both men kept filming, which added an undeniable sense of realism to the final cut of the scene. Even with action movies gaining popularity, it was one of the film's most discussed aspects. For Smith, who had spent his career playing tough guys in movies and TV shows, this fight was one of the most decisive moments of his career. He had fought on screen many times, but usually it was carefully choreographed fights meant to look dangerous while doing little real damage. But Darker Than Amber was different. It wasn't just a performance, it was a real fight caught on film where two experienced actors pushed each other to the limit. Taylor, who had built his career playing charismatic, rough-and-tumble heroes, took pride in how realistic the scene was. He had always been known for doing his stunts, and this moment cemented his reputation as one of Hollywood's toughest leading men. The confrontation was not merely a scripted altercation between two characters, it represented a genuine struggle between two men who were resolute in their determination to prevail. Over the years, the Darker Than Amber fight scene has become legendary among action movie fans, often cited as one of the most intense and real brawls ever filmed. Unlike today's carefully staged action scenes that rely heavily on CGI and wire work, this was old-school Hollywood toughness. Both actors were hurt, bloodied, and battered, but the fight will always be remembered. Smith went on to have a long and successful career in movies and TV shows, but he always talked about the Darker Than Amber fight with respect and admiration. He said Rod was a real fighter and that he didn't just act tough, he was tough before he became famous for playing bad guys and tough warriors on screen. Smith was very involved in military and intelligence work, which gave him skills and experiences that set him apart from most actors of his time. When he was 18, Smith joined the U.S. Air Force, which was a world very different from the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. He had a sharp mind and a natural talent for languages, which the military quickly recognized. Over time, he became fluent in Russian, German, French, and Serbo-Croatian, which was a very useful set of skills during the Cold War. His ability to work under pressure, along with his physical strength and discipline, made him a perfect candidate for his. Smith flew high-stakes missions over Russia and other Eastern Bloc countries during the Korean War. Part of undercover missions to spy on them. Smith never talked much about these missions because they were dangerous, and if they were caught, they could have been jailed or even killed. This was likely due to the fact that his work was classified and he had a top security clearance, but the experience had a profound impact on him that would last throughout his life. His military career wasn't just about combat and spying. Smith was also very intellectually curious and wanted to learn a lot. These qualities drove him to go to college after his military service. He went to a number of well-known schools, such as Syracuse University. He studied at the University of Munich, the Sorbonne in Paris, and UCLA. Mostly in languages and intelligence work related to foreign affairs. This would have made him useful to the CIA or military intelligence at one point. He was fluent in several languages, had direct experience in military operations, and had a top-level security clearance, making him a suitable candidate for a career in intelligence. But fate had other plans for him. Despite his serious academic pursuits and military experience, Smith eventually found himself drawn to acting. He had the physicality of a leading man, the discipline of a soldier, and the intellectual depth to bring complex characters to life. Hollywood may not have been his original destination, but it was where he would make his mark. Still, his background in the military and intelligence worlds never left him. It gave him a commanding presence on screen and a sense of realism in his roles as soldiers, spies, and hardened criminals. Few actors could match the authenticity of his performances because he had been in dangerous situations himself. Even when he played bad guys, there was always an air of intelligence behind his eyes, an unspoken understanding of strategy, survival, and the realities of combat. William Smith wasn't just a Hollywood tough guy, he was a true Renaissance man who excelled in both physical and intellectual pursuits. He initially wanted to work in military intelligence, but his natural athleticism and competitive drive led him to outstanding success in sports and bodybuilding. His accomplishments in many areas cemented his reputation as one of the strongest and most physically gifted actors of his time. Smith started his athletic career in the U.S. Air Force, where his raw strength and fighting skills earned him the title of Air Force light heavyweight boxing champion. His dominance in the ring was a testament to his strength, endurance, and fighting instincts, traits that would later make his on-screen fight scenes famous. But Smith excelled not only in boxing but also in other sports during his time at UCLA. Competitor in track and field, becoming a champion discus thrower. His strength and explosive power made him a natural in the event, where technique and raw force combined to create record-breaking throws. But Smith's physical ability went far beyond traditional sports. The fact that Smith won the 200 pounds World Arm Wrestling Championship twice shows how strong his grip was and how powerful his upper body was. Technique and endurance are just as important in arm wrestling as raw strength, and Smith's wins showed that he had all of them. Smith was also excellent at martial arts. He earned black belts in Kung Fu, Kenpo Karate, and other styles, making him a very skilled and well-rounded fighter. His boxing background and martial arts skills made him a very dangerous opponent, both on and off the screen. His fight scenes in movies and TV shows weren't just acting, they were grounded in real-life experience and technical precision. Me of the best professional bodybuilders of the time. His workouts were legendary. He regularly lifted 200 pounds barbells, which was an amazing feat of strength. He could do 5,100 consecutive sit-ups, which was an almost superhuman display of endurance and core strength. He could also do reverse curls with 163 pounds, which showed how strong his forearms and grip were. These feats weren't just for show. They were the result of years of disciplined training and an unbreakable work ethic outside of weightlifting and combat sports. Smith was successful in a lot of different types of sports. While he was in Germany, he played semi-professional football, showing that his speed, agility, and toughness were useful outside of the weight room and in high-contact sports. He also competed in motocross racing, which requires a lot of balance, endurance, and fearlessness. Not content with just doing well in land-based sports, he also took on the challenge of downhill skiing, which requires both strength and precision. Smith's athletic achievements were not only impressive, but also astounding. He excelled in almost every physical activity he did, whether in the ring, on the field, in the weight room, or on the slopes. He proved time and time again that he was one of the most well-rounded athletes to ever come to Hollywood. William Smith's rise to fame was paved with discipline, resilience, and an undeniable screen presence that made him a perfect fit for action-packed roles. In bodybuilding and fitness, Smith did wonderful things, and the industry recognized them throughout his career. In 1995, the Academy of Bodybuilding and Fitness gave him a Lifetime Achievement Award, which is only given to people who have had a big impact on the world of strength training and physical culture. Not only did people who went to the movies know his name, but so did bodybuilders, who admired both his figure and his dedication to peak physical performance. In 2010, Smith was inducted into the Muscle Beach Venice Bodybuilding Hall of Fame, where he joined the ranks of some of the best bodybuilders of all time. Beach in Venice, California, has long been a fitness fanatic's dream, and Smith's induction into its Hall of Fame showed how much of an impact he has had on strength training and bodybuilding in general. Smith was also well known in the stunt world, which shows how physically strong he was. Skills and confidence in high-risk action scenes. In 2000, he was made an honorary member of the Stuntmen's Association of Motion Pictures, which recognizes the best stunt performers in Hollywood. This showed how dedicated Smith was to doing his own stunts and how much he respected the stunt community, as many actors relied on doubles. Smith often insisted on doing his own fight scenes and action sequences, adding a raw authenticity to his performances. Now let's go back in time to that special childhood of William Smith. He spent his early years surrounded by the rugged beauty of Missouri's countryside. His parents William M. Smith and Emily Richard Smith owned a cattle ranch where young William developed a deep appreciation for hard work, animals, and the traditional Western way of life. Growing up in that environment instilled in him a strong sense of discipline and self-reliance, qualities that would define his future career in both the military and Hollywood. The ranch provided more than just a home, it became the foundation of Smith's lifelong love for horses. He learned to ride at an early age, becoming an expert equestrian long before he ever stepped onto a movie set. This background made him a natural fit for the Western genre, where his ease in the saddle and familiarity with cowboy culture added authenticity to his performances. Smith's life took a big turn when his family moved to Southern California, right in the middle of the movie business. He was immediately drawn to Hollywood, where he started looking for work in the entertainment business. Even as a child, he had a striking presence, and it didn't take long for filmmakers to notice him. In the 1940s, Smith had many uncredited roles in some of the most famous movies of the time, including The Ghost of Frankenstein, 1942, and Meet Me in St. Louis, 1944. Going My Way 1944, even though these were small roles, they were Smith's first experience on a movie set. He watched experienced actors work, learned how movies were made, and became familiar with the ins and outs of the business. At the time, acting wasn't exactly his main goal. When he first saw Hollywood movies, they were more of a thrill than a job choice. A decade after his early child acting roles, MGM called Smith and offered him the chance to return to the industry. Smith was now an adult with a powerful body and a wealth of life experience, in contrast to his early roles as a child actor. He was a rare combination of intelligence and physical strength in Hollywood. Seeing an opportunity, Smith decided to give acting a serious try. His rugged good looks, natural athleticism, and real-life toughness made him a great fit for action movies and TV westerns. His time on a ranch and his writing skills helped him get parts in western movies and TV shows where he could play authentic cowboys, outlaws, and police officers. The part of Smith in John Milius's big fantasy movie Conan the Barbarian was just right. 1982, in the movie, he played Conan's father, Corin, who taught the young warrior about the value of steel before being tragically killed by the movie's bad guy, Thulsa Doom, played by James Earl Jones. Even though he only had a small part, his powerful performance left an impression, and Schwarzenegger's Conan used his character's words as a guide throughout the movie. Smith's experience in weightlifting and martial arts made him a fantastic choice for the physically demanding part. Schwarzenegger, one of the most famous bodybuilders of all time, was a formidable opponent for Smith. Their chemistry on screen was believable, and Smith's rough performance as Conan's father set the tone for the movie's violent and mythical story. 2 years later, Smith played another famous role, this time as Soviet Colonel Strennikov in Red Dawn 1984. The movie, which was directed by John Milius, was a made-up story about Soviet and Cuban forces invading the United States. Smith's performance as the cruel Soviet officer raised the stakes of the movie's already high-stakes drama by making him one of the main bad guys going up against Patrick Sea's group of young American fighters. Brad Pitt and Jennifer Grey. Colonel Strennikov was a scary and realistic enemy because he was believable, and his Russian language skills from being in the Air Force added to the realism of his act. It was also known outside of movies and TV that Smith was the last actor to play the Marlboro Man in a smoke ad before they were banned from TV. The Marathon Man campaign was one of the most famous ads in American history. It stood for toughness, freedom, and being a man. Smith's rough appearance and background as a cowboy made him the perfect choice for the part, solidifying his image as the personification of old-school toughness. Even as he got older, Smith never really stopped acting. His last movie appearance was in Steve Carell's 2020 political satire Irresistible, where he made a small but meaningful contribution to the film. His limited screen time reminded viewers of his legendary career. Smith died on July 5, 2021, at the Motion Picture and Television Country House and Hospital in Woodland Hills, California, a place that cared for retired actors and film industry professionals. His wife, Joan Colley Smith, chose not to say what killed him. Smith was married for 31 years and had a son named William E. Smith III and a daughter named Sher Cavelli. He was considered one of the last genuine tough guys in Hollywood, demonstrating the same level of toughness in real life as he did in movies. His career spanned from gritty action movies to historical dramas, bodybuilding shows, and even high-profile commercials. It had a lasting effect on both the entertainment industry and popular culture. What do you think about William Smith? Please let us know in the comments section below. We hope this video was helpful. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.